Welcome to video 2 in this mini-series, and part 2 we will focus on the structure and the content. Firstly, we'll look at the difference between structure and content. Now, the structure focuses on things like how many sections do you need? How much time or space do you have for each section? And this could be broken down further into how much time do you have per slide? How much time do you plan on spending on each slide? And then, what is your narrative? The structure can help you deliver that narrative. Now, when we look at content, these will include things like, what are your key ideas? Which examples are most relevant? And how will you analyze your key points? All of these come under the bracket of content, and we'll look at those in a little bit more detail now. Now, with structure, the key questions, okay? How many sections do you need? Think about what is needed to include all your relevant points. And this will come in the planning stage. So you need to plan the type of argument you want to make, or the type of points you would like to get across to the audience, and plan this into your sections. How much time, space do you need for each section? Well, consider where your marks will be coming from, and you can use this from the marking criteria. You might want to give yourself appropriate timings or space for each section as well. And then finally, what will your narrative be? This may help you decide how to organize and present your points. Okay, so you need to use your narrative to try and help formulate that argument and get your points across to the audience and the marker. Now, filtering information. What are the headlines? Now, you need to try and understand what information in your PowerPoint you cannot afford to leave out, and make these as headlines. Which examples are most relevant? So choose good examples to demonstrate or support your key points. And we do this in the way of providing evidence. So this is where your citations and references will help you. What additional information does your viewer need? Include all your relevant and contextual information. Make sure you give the reader the full picture. And the parts of the presentation are the introduction, the main body, and the conclusions. The introduction should introduce your topic and set the foundation for your presentation. The largest part of your presentation will be the main body. This is where you present your argument clearly with the main ideas signposted. And the conclusions are to summarize your evidence and findings clearly and explicitly, and leave the viewer with one or some main take-home messages. Be really, really clear that the main body of the presentation is probably the most important section. So now I'm just going to show you an acronym that we use to ensure that we build strong arguments, or to enable us to make a strong point. So first is a P, which stands for point. One factor that makes intelligence testing effective in education is. And we've got the E, for example. This is supported by Smith, who states that, and that E stands for evidence. Then we have another E for explanation, So you could start this section with "this suggests that," or "the significance of this is," and then the final point is link. Make sure you link to your next section. Consequently, this supports the argument that, and all of these sentences don't necessarily have to be written out in your presentation, but you want to be able to make sure that you're using these strong arguments in what you are saying and delivering. Now, signposting your content. What do you think? How will you introduce your presentation? How will you conclude your presentation? And how will you link between sections? Okay, all of these aspects are really important when putting together the structure and the content of your presentations. And then lastly, just to touch upon referencing, which is obviously important when we are delivering presentations, and all academic presentations must still include the citations and references. Include a citation anywhere that you've drawn information from another source, including quotations, paraphrases, and images. Ensure all cited material is also included in references, or in a box for a poster and on a references slide at the end of a presentation. If required, remember to provide a separate reference list for your marker. Check your assignment brief to see if this is a requirement for your course.